Hello everyone, I am Meena Kothari and today I will be explaining you the experiment of to determine E by M of an electron by magnetron method. E by M is also known as specific charge. Okay, so if we calculate E by M of an electron, so this is the specific charge of an electron, and this was first found by Professor J.J. Thomson. But at this moment we are not following this method, we are performing this with the help of magnetron method. So before going into the all apparatus setup and all how to take the reading, let us first discuss the theory of this experiment. So first of all I would like to show you the magnetron, which is actually the basis of this experiment. So this magnetron, this is a magnetron, it is a thermoionic valve. It is a valve and the electron emission takes place by thermoionic emission. So the cathode is in form of a wire which is kept along the axis of the cylinder. Okay, cathode is in form of a wire and kept along the axis of the cylinder, and this cylinder itself, it behaves as the anode. Okay. So we apply a voltage across anode and cathode, making cathode negative, anode positive. So thermoionic emission electrons are emitted, and those electrons reach the anode radially outwards. Okay, so axis way the electrons are emitting from this point and they are moving radially outwards along the length of this bond. So this is how electrons are emitted. Now let us we keep this thermoionic magnetron inside this solenoid somewhere in between. Okay, so we'll discuss this later on. So first of all, let me tell you that suppose we apply a voltage across anode and cathode. But once electrons start emitting, they move radially upwards. Okay. So suppose I assume that initially the electrons are coming out with zero velocity. So that time, and by the time they reach anode, because they are accelerated within that, so when they reach there, suppose their velocity becomes v, or we can say they gain kinetic energy half mv square, which is actually given by this. Okay, so half mv square is equal to ev. This is our one of the equation. From here we can find out the velocity. Now what happens that till we can change this voltage, so this kinetic energy will be changed and so on, this we can do. But here what is our experiment? When this is a moving electron inside the magnetron. When this moving electron is kept in a magnetic field which is provided by this solenoid. Okay, so when we apply current in this solenoid, it becomes a magnet and applies a magnetic field. The direction of the magnetic field is along the axis of this valve. Okay, and the electrons are moving radially outwards. It means a perpendicular magnetic field is acting on the moving electrons. Okay, though that perpendicular magnetic field will not change the velocity of the electrons, but it will modify the trajectory of the electrons. So we can see here in this, suppose this is the anode, this is anode, and this is the place where cathode is kept. Okay, so in absence of any magnetic field, these electrons must be moving outwards in this direction when our B is equal to 0. When there is no magnetic field acting, so these electrons are moving radially outwards. Fine. As soon as we apply a magnetic field, it will bend its path, it will modify its trajectory, and the electrons may move in this direction depending on the magnetic field we apply, the magnitude of the magnetic field. The trajectory will be more and more and more curved. Okay, so this is when some magnetic field B is applied. Okay, if we go on increasing the intensity of magnetic field, the curvedness of the path, electron path, changes and it becomes more and more curved. A value for a value of magnetic field, which is, say, I am calling it as BC, critical magnetic field. Okay, the path of the electrons becomes so curved that it just touches the anode and this, or it goes tangentially towards the anode surface. This is known as the critical magnetic field. Beyond this, if we go on increasing the magnetic field, the path will be further curved, and it may be something like this. So this is the electron. These are the electron paths. So and go on higher and higher. So what we are interested in this situation. That is when B is equal to BC and the electrons, they just graze tangentially across the anode, and beyond that the anode, because till this they are reaching like anode, and beyond that they are not able to reach anode, so anode current becomes 0. So if we can measure the anode current, at this point anode current will be high. Okay, till this also they are reaching at different places, but actually they are reaching anode, so the anode current will remain almost constant. But as soon as it reaches this value, critical value, it drops suddenly and it becomes practically 0, not exactly 0, but theoretically it becomes 0 when it is when magnetic field is greater than critical magnetic field. So this is our theory. Now we will see that how we can use this theory to calculate the E by M of an electron. Right. So this was the first situation when there was no magnetic field. Now we are applying a magnetic field B, suppose, and suppose so that time it is moving in a circular path of radius r. Okay, suppose it is moving in a path of radius r. So that time that centripetal force required to move in this radius r, this is the centripetal force, and this should be provided by the force applied by the magnetic field on moving electron, which is also known as Lorentz force, and its value is E B cross B. Here I can write simply B because we are maintaining the theta to be 90. So it is nothing but mv square upon r is equal to EBB. Now we can observe one thing, that when the situation of this comes, that is when B is equal to BC, what is the value of r? That is the radius of the circle. That we can see that it will be this radius, or which is equal to RA by 2, where RA is the radius of anode. So I can write that mv square upon RA by 2 equal to EV BC. Okay, so we will be solving these equations for E by M, and this E by M comes out to be AV upon RA square BC square that time. So this is basically our working formula for this experiment. Fine. Here BC is the magnetic field created by this solenoid that we will calculate by using the formula of the solenoid magnetic field at center or at any point position inside the solenoid. We can calculate it by that method. And RA, is the radius of the anode. That is a constant for this experiment, and it will be given to you. And then voltage, whatever voltage we apply here, we can note down that. So we know all the things, and then we can calculate the E by M. One more method of calculating E by M is that as can be seen from here, I can write it this way. V is equal to V is equal to RA square upon 8, then E by M, and then BC square. If we look at this result, we can see that V versus BC square will be a straight line. V versus BC square will be straight line. We can find out V BC square. We can calculate the slope of the line, and then we can calculate the E by M. So two ways we can calculate the E by M. One by graphical method, other by theoretical method, and then we can compare the value of E by M with the help of this standard value and calculate the errors. Is this okay? So now I will tell you that how to perform this experiment with the help of this setup. So let me first explain the setup here. As I told you already that there is a magnetron which is kept inside this solenoid. Solenoid has some number of turns. They all are written here, that how many number of turns are there, what is the length of this solenoid, what is the radius of the solenoid, and how many layers of the coils are there in the solenoid. Okay. Now this is the setup which is actually to provide the current, and in the solenoid also to provide the current along the cathode and anode, between the cathode and anode of the magnetron. So as you can see here, this is our current measurement. This will give you the plate current, that is anode current, which is measured in terms of microamperes. Okay. Then we have this voltage, which will measure the voltage between anode and cathode. Whatever we are applying, it will give you that. And this is the anode current. This is the solenoid current. Yes, this is the solenoid current, and this you can see that by changing this, as it is connected to the solenoid, this is connected to the solenoid, so this is providing current to the solenoid. So this is solenoid current, this is the voltage between cathode and anode, and this is the anode current which we will be measuring. Okay, so this is our total setup. So this magnetron is kept somewhere inside this solenoid. We switch on the current. Whenever you perform an experiment, and we switch on the device, we must ensure that all the knobs are in the minimum position. Okay, so we switch on this. This is the case. Now this is the solenoid current. We are keeping it 0, and then we are applying some voltage, say 2 volt. That is this is the voltage we are applying. You can see that when we increase this voltage, when I am increasing this voltage, this anode current is increasing, because more and more number of electrons will be emitted out, and they are able to reach the anode. So anode current is increasing. Okay, as we go on increasing. Suppose for one set of value, suppose we keep this voltage as constant, and this is the current. Let me take it as 3 so that something is visible. Okay, you can see that some current is there. Now I will give some current to the solenoid. You can see that when I change the solenoid current, this current is also changing. I think you will be able to see it. As we go on increasing the solenoid current, this anode current is decreasing, as we discussed here. because we are increasing the solenoid current, we are increasing the magnetic field, we are increasing the curvature of the electron path, and that's why they are not able to reach the anode. They are bending, they become curved before they reach the anode. So any anode current practically becomes, it is almost zero. Some thermal electrons may be able to reach the anode, and that's why there is some current. Otherwise current should be zero. So this way we take the number of readings so that we get a smooth curve. That reading will be provided to you, and you have to calculate the values using that. You have to draw the graph. So first, then how to get that value. One thing is that how to get that BC. Here we are seeing that this one, then with the help of graph and with the help of this experiment, how we are getting this. This is one of the problem. So what we do is, let me raise this thing. Okay. So when we get it for one value, suppose this is the graph, and here I am solenoid current, which is in terms of amperes, and here is the anode current which may be in terms of microamperes or milliamperes, very small. So the curve comes out to be for a particular, this almost same, and then something like this. This is the curve we obtain with the help of reading which I just showed to you. Then to calculate this IC or BC, you can say, then we calculate the IC, that is the current in the solenoid which is producing critical magnetic field. So we draw a tangent at this point, and we draw a tangent at this point at which practically the current is becoming zero. This point, so where they intersect, the value of solenoid current, remember that this is a value of solenoid current. This value of the solenoid current where these two tangents intersect is the critical current at that particular voltage. V is equal to suppose 3 volts. Okay, so we have different voltages and different currents. So suppose I draw for 5 volts, 2 volts I can draw here. So it will be something like this. We can draw here also. So for V is equal to 3 volts, we get this. So I can show you the table. You can see the table here, in which we will provide you the constants. All constants will be provided to you. So we have a solenoid current which is measured in terms of amperes. Then anode current will be measured for different voltages. Okay, so for different voltages it will be measured. So we will change the solenoid current, and according change in the anode current will be measured. Same thing for the other value of this, and so on. So with the help of this, we will draw a graph of this kind. We will draw the tangents and we will get the solenoid current. Now, with the help of this only, the readings are only this much. With the help of this, we will again be doing this, rewriting a table, which is the anode potential, which is here. Then for that particular potential, for example 2 volts, we will calculate whatever the critical current we got from here. Okay, and with the help of that critical current, we will calculate the magnetic field. And now magnetic field square we need 8V B square upon RA square, that we can calculate, and finally we can calculate the E by M value. So this is how we calculate the with the help of like formula. And for the graphical method, I told you that we will be drawing a graph taking out its slope, and because the slope will be equal to this much, so from there, so when we divide that slope with this factor RA square by 8, we will be able to get the EYN value. Then we can compare these two values, we can compare it with standard value, we have to calculate the error also, percentage error, maximum permissible error. Okay, so this is how we perform this experiment. It is all about the experiment. The one precaution we must keep to perform this experiment is that we should look that there are no magnetic fields around. It is not under the influence of any other magnetic field. Secondly, all other magnetic material should be out, they should be away from this place, and obviously the readings will be should be taken with utmost care. Graph should be drawn carefully and with a free hand, and then tangent should be drawn nicely, means perfectly to get the IC, because IC affects it a lot, because this is coming in terms of square of the term, right? So this has the double of the error, it can generate double of it. So that's all about it. So hope you can get it. I will provide you the manual of this is given in the physics lab department teaching laboratories, and it is, I think, 5th of the experiment, or you can just check that to find out the E/M by magnetron method. It is somewhere 5th experiment, I think. So you can get the manual from there, see whatever. If you are not able to get anything, you can, I think your problems will be solved there. All the graphical details are also given there, and I will provide you one set of values. Using those values, you need to calculate E/M theoretically as well as practically. Thank you.